Hey guys, so not long to go now until Scream 7. We are days away and it feels like they're really marketing this movie as a real event film. There's a lot of buzz behind this one. So for all those people who thought this would flop and be DOA, it's proving to be the opposite and I'm loving it. We just had a music video for the movie and how cool would it be to see it in a movie theater? Like in the opening of Scream 2, minus the getting murdered part. I'm normally the person who hates any sort of noise in a movie theater. Like here in Australia, I don't know what it's like in other parts of the world, if it's actually like that in real life, but here we tend to just keep quiet. So if someone's making noise near me, I'll be annoyed, but I'm way too non-confrontational to actually say something. But anyway, I'm just loving the vibe around this movie. So I'm really excited. I get to see it a bit early at a preview screening. I don't know when the embargo is going to be lifting, but I will have my review out as soon as possible. And then I'll have later on my spoiler review. So watch out for those if you're interested. And I thought in preparation, I'll do a rewatch. And I just thought, why not rank the killers in terms of their motives? I was going to do a video ranking like the Scream movies in general, but I thought, no, let's talk about their motives because their motives are so interesting. So this is going to be in terms of least favorite to most favorite, or I don't want to say favorite because it's about killing people and there's, never a good reason for that, but let's just say most sympathetic. Okay, so coming in at number 6 is Scream 5 with Richie and Amber. So these are my least favorite Ghostfaces. Ghostfaces, if you've seen Supernatural, you'll get the reference. I didn't mean it intentionally, but it made me think of it. Anyway, so I know people are going to get really sick of hearing this, but Amber could not have killed Dewey. It's just not possible. She's a tiny little girl in her, what is she, a teenager, early 20s, and he's a full-grown man with a lot of injuries at this point in the line of work, granted, but still, it's not meant to be a Supernatural franchise. We're meant to take it at face value, and I get it. It's sort of like when the Ghostface costume goes on, they almost have this supernatural ability to be stronger, faster, but still at a certain point, you have to also make it work within what's logical, and it just wasn't logical. And I don't want to come down too hard on her. I really tried to, think, am I just saying this because I didn't like the motive? But no, after rewatching it, I really also didn't like the actress's performance. It was almost laughably bad. And the guy actually is a really good actor. I think I've seen season 1 of The Boys before I lost interest. And Huey, I think he plays, he's a good actor. So I feel like if they had a better script to work with, he could have done a really good job. He was like Rory Culkin, who played Charlie Walker. He just had that menacing quality to him where you could believe this creepy, nerdy guy could be a psycho killer. So the whole premise of toxic fandom, I think, is very relevant, and it would have been a really interesting idea to explore, but I feel like it was the execution that failed. They were trying to use all these buzzwords like Mary Sue to separate the audience, and it just doesn't work like that. You can't make it a left versus right thing. There's that sort of toxicity on both sides, and I really would have liked to see that explored more, and just if they had a better script, a better actress, they could have really pulled off that ending and stuck the landing. And also that movie just annoyed me in general. And I know this is really unpopular. I feel like I've seen such a lot of love for the character Mindy, but she just feels like a cheap discount Randy. It's obvious they're trying to just throw her in as a Randy replacement without any of the charisma or charm that Randy had. And it was just too meta, too on the nose when she was talking about the rules. Okay, so coming in at number 5 is number 6. So honorary mention, we have Jason in the opening killing Samara Weaving's character of the professor of film studies and unmasking himself. I thought that was really clever. I liked that. And then he goes to his apartment and we never really see Greg alive anyway, but they were meant to be two potential ghost faces. Okay, so honorary mention, Sam Carpenter, she technically put on the ghost face mask and killed somebody. And I feel like she would have been an example of a final girl you could truly turn into a villain in a convincing way. But they really missed the opportunity there. Well, there was rumors they were going to take that direction, but I very much doubt they would have really made her into a villain. I mean, if they had her sister killed off, maybe. But yeah, that wasn't going to happen. And let's just talk about the fact that that human pincushion, aka Chad, should not be alive at this point. I mean, he got stabbed like 100 times. Anyway, I'm putting it in that box I put all the other things in and just try to ignore. But Detective Bailey, I can't ignore. Ethan, Quinn. I like the idea of the whole family having 3 ghost faces. There was some really cool moments where like they simultaneously cleaned their knives. I really like the whole premise of it being set in the city. Once again, I feel like this movie had a lot of potential, but Detective Bailey, I think the actor is a good actor. I've seen him in other things, but he couldn't pull off this particular role. And Ethan, look, maybe I would have a different opinion if we've seen more of him, but I feel like we didn't get to know him as well as the other guys I would compare him to, Richie and Charlie Walker. So, I don't know, he just doesn't come off as menacing, but if it is him who did the ladder kill, that was brutal. So, if we'd seen a bit more of that side of him, but when he was unmasked, he just looked ridiculous. He looked like a kid playing dress up. Quinn, I liked Quinn. She had a menacing sort of energy to her. Once again, putting in that box of things I have to ignore, her attacking Gail and throwing Gail's huge bodybuilder boyfriend across the room as a tiny college girl. Okay. But still, putting that aside, yeah, I really liked Quinn. And we're going to talk about the motive of Scream 2 later, but I will say it worked better there than it did here. The whole avenging my child storyline didn't land in this particular entry. I mean, both guys they were avenging were psychos, but here it just fell flat. And once again, it was down to script and performance. So coming in at number 4, we have number 4. So Charlie Walker and Jill Roberts. I really like Charlie. I feel like he's really underappreciated. He was the most brutal Ghostface in my opinion. And there's a version that they had for free on YouTube where somebody compiled all the deleted scenes and put them back in the movie. And I really wish they had kept that up because it actually added a lot more to the movie, all those deleted scenes. So the whole motive, the social commentary, you know, once again, sort of not toxic fandoms, but toxic fame seeking. It was very relevant, especially at that point of time. And apparently Jill Roberts was rumored to be in what they initially planned Scream 5 to be. I really would have loved to see that. But anyway, it was just a really good movie. I liked the character of Kirby. I feel like it didn't overstay its welcome. It was just fast-paced enough. And maybe it's nostalgia because I was around the same age as those characters in college at the time. And it just felt like, I don't know, a nice little time capsule. Okay, so coming in at number 3, we have the original, the one that started it all. Stu Macher was obviously just in it for the kicks. He was just, you know, a sadist. Billy, you could understand to a certain degree why he's angry, but that anger was so misplaced. And once again, you can understand after watching number 3, he was getting, you know, manipulated by Roman, but still, like, it wasn't a good excuse. The whole cheating affair, nope. Okay, so coming in at number 2, we have Scream 2. So Mrs. Loomis and Mickey. Mickey obviously was just crazy. He wanted the fame of a trial and he thought that he could maybe get away with it or go to a mental asylum, I guess. And then we have the parent avenging their child storyline again, but this time it actually does work. Even though the child was just an evil guy, like, it still works within this context. Not saying I think that the killer is sympathetic, but just their motive is understandable. So coming in at number 1 for me is Scream 3. So Roman Bridger was the most sympathetic. His mother abandoning him, rejecting him. That was, a tough pill for anyone to swallow. Seeing Sydney live a life filled with love would have been really hard to watch. And I can understand him being bitter, not psycho murderous, but bitter and angry and resentful, definitely. And that part where they're holding hands at the end as he's dying gets me every time. And honestly, I would like to see Roman brought back in Scream 7. I know it's going to be AI. I mean, even in Scream, a shot to the head is dead. Okay, so before we talk about the TV show, let me know your favorite Ghostface down below. So I feel like the TV show is very underrated and a lot of people in the Scream community haven't even seen it. But to be fair, it's not the most accessible show. Even here in Australia, it's hard to find it. So it goes for 3 seasons, but season 3 isn't a continuation, it's a reboot, and that made a lot of fans, myself included, really angry because we were really invested in the storyline. Then there's a spin-off, sort of with the same cast and characters of season 1 and 2, a Halloween special, which I've really enjoyed. So the killer in season 1 is Piper Shaw. She's my second favorite killer in the show. She's got a Roman Bridger abandoned child complex going on. She has a sister who doesn't know about her. Just like Sydney didn't know about Roman, she gets killed in the end, and it turns out in season 2 she had a secret boyfriend who is also her accomplice. Yes, it's going into soap opera territory and I love it. So he's trying to avenge his girlfriend, and he does it by starting to date her sister who doesn't know about this connection, and obviously he dies, but the person who kills him is set up to be the third Ghostface, and we never found out who it was. Yeah, really annoyed about that. But then the spin-off, or a reboot I should say, was just absolutely horrible. There was this goth girl, Beth, who was the best part of the show. She was a Ghostface. I totally bought her in the role. Then there's this guy she's dating, Jamal. I didn't like him as Ghostface. And the spin-off, the Halloween special, probably goes in between 2 and 3. So Beth is basically just a sociopath obsessed with horror movies, and then Jamal has this whole storyline with his brother who he's really jealous of because his brother outshines him. And I think both of those storylines could have been really interesting if they just were once again given a better script. It just fell so flat in season 3. And then when it comes to the Halloween special, the killer Tom is basically this obsessed stalker of the final girl of season 1 and 2 and is trying to get close to her and her friends. And I really like the Halloween special, so if that wasn't clear, season 2 Ghostface Killer is the best one of the show. Season 1 Ghostface Killer, the second best. Halloween special, third best. And then season 3, just somewhere way, way, way down there. Rock bottom. So like I said, let me know your ranking down below. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, all of that YouTube stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next video.